I think the moment that stood out most for me was when I first met Vincent. I had been doing a number of extremely low-budget films, many of them horror films, generally with a maximum schedule of 10 days and a $70,000 or $80,000 budget. On the Fall of the House of Usher, which was titled for films, The House of Usher, I had a 15-day schedule. I was shooting in color and had a couple of $100,000. I thought I was in the big time. The lead role was that of Roger Corman, who was a very intelligent, highly educated, sensitive, and slightly neurotic man. The name Vincent Price came to me immediately as the actor I wanted. I had never met him. I sent him a script. He liked the script. We had lunch. And indeed, we got along well during the lunch. And my main memory of him was he had every attribute of Roger Corman, except he wasn't quite that neurotic. He was very intelligent, very well educated. He had gone to Yale and did graduate work at the University of London. A very sensitive man. And to my surprise, a very funny man, a very witty man. We used that humor in some of the last of the Bow films.
When you were planning the project, I mean, how did he first occur to you as a candidate for the role?
I thought of all the possible actors within, frankly, the budget range I had. I had more money than I'd ever had before, so I was able to find a better-known actor, more famous actor than I previously worked with. And at the same time, I knew I wasn't going to be going with the greatest stars in Hollywood, but Vincent was a star, and he simply fit the role, and he was my first choice. I really didn't even have a second choice. If our lunch had not gone well, I have no idea what I would have done.
Now, he did also, in the 1950s, sort of ascended from being a costume drama actor, or what Orson Welles called a king, to being more of a horror star. He was in The Fly, and he made a couple of films with William Castle that were very popular just before he began working with you. It's incredible to me to think that Fall of the House of Usher was made in 1960. Roughly 5 or 6 years after your first film, the first film you ever made, and it was the 25th film that you directed. So was it a tough picture for you to pitch to American International?
It was a little bit difficult. The situation was this. I was working with American International and Allied Artists, who were the two premier low-budget production and distribution companies. And each company had a similar method of distribution. They would like to have, as I say, these 10-day, $70,000 or $80,000, sometimes less, similar films, which they would put together as a double feature, 2 films for the price of 1. 2 horror films, 2 science fiction, 2 gangster, something like that. And AIP wanted me to make 2 10-day black and white films. And I felt that the whole process was getting a little stale. It was a great sales gimmick for a little while, but I could see, since I had a percentage of the profits, that they were still very profitable, but they were starting to slip a little bit. And frankly, I wanted to move up a little bit in the films I was doing. So I told them I would like to do The House of Usher instead, and I'd like to have 15 days in color and send it out as a single feature. They debated that for a little while, and they came around very quickly to the concept, to the idea. They accepted the idea fairly rapidly. There was one moment when Sam Arkoff, the head of business affairs, said that there's no monster in The House of Usher. Thinking very quickly, I said, Sam, the house is the monster. And on that basis, they bought it, and there's a line in there somewhere saying, the house lives, the house is evil, or something like that. And Vincent asked me, we discussed the motivation and so forth. What is the motivation behind this line, Roger? And I said, the motivation is that's how we got the picture financed.
I understand that you took some acting classes yourself in the 1950s. Was this to prepare you for anything in particular as a director, or did you want to learn acting so that you could fill in for someone inexpensively if you needed to?
No, it was to prepare me as a director. I had a degree in engineering, and I felt that I had never studied or had anything to do with acting. And I felt I learned the use of the camera, editing, and so forth, the technical ends of motion pictures, maybe based upon my engineering background, but I didn't know enough about acting, and I felt to sort of complete the preparation as a director, I should study acting, not to become an actor, although I did inadvertently a couple of times, but simply to be able to work with actors.
When you were working with Vincent Price, what did you observe of his approach to his craft that was interesting to you as someone who had gone through acting class?
I'm a great believer in preparation, and so was Vincent. Particularly when you're working on a low schedule, low budget and short schedule, you don't have a lot of time during the shooting to discuss the motivation, discuss the characterization, and give much direction during shooting. You really have to be spending your time going from shot to shot. So what I would do, I would discuss all of these things with Vincent before shooting, so that we would be in agreement on the general concept of the character, which enabled us to move quickly because we had already decided before shooting what things such as motivation and relationship to other characters were, so it required a minimum of directing. And what impressed me was the great dedication that Vincent had. He prepared very, very thoroughly. For instance, in the first of the films, the House of Usher, he dyed his hair white, which was his idea. It was not my idea. And he told me, and I wasn't so certain, but I felt he's a veteran actor, I will go with his thought. And it brought a great strange quality to the character. He was absolutely correct in doing that.